Hi, so this is the second video in our series of videos about some of the different systems of equations type problems that you'll encounter. And this video we're going to talk about coin problems. And you've probably already talked about coin problems in your class already, so this will be a relatively short video. This will be kind of like a review reteaching. You'll have a couple problems on your homework assignment you probably already noticed about coin problems, and so we'll talk about an example here. Not one of the ones on your assignment, a new example, so follow along with this one, and then you can be able to solve the ones on your homework. So first, a jar contains $12.30 in quarters and dimes. And let's say that there are 60 coins in total. There are 60 coins in total. I want to know how many of them are dimes. That's my question. So the first step, really, that we should use whenever we tackle any kind of word problem is to make variables, is to define variables, let statements, your teacher might call them. And so we have two unknowns, the number of quarters and the number of dimes. So we're going to have two let statements then, one for the number of quarters and one for the number of dimes. I like to use letters, variable letters that will actually correspond to the things that they represent. So I'm going to let Q equal the number of quarters, and I'm going to let D equal the number of dimes. This will make things a little bit easier for me to kind of keep track of as far as like what's what. Now, another thing to consider here is the fact that we have two different totals of kind of two different ideas of things. There's the actual physical number of coins. There are 60 coins that you would get if you sat there and added up how many coins there are. And there's $12.30 in value. And the value is different from the total number. After all, different coins have different values. Quarters are 25 cents, as you know. Dimes are 10 cents. Nickels are 5 cents. Pennies are 1. And then there are other coins, too, as well. But this kind of suggests, because we have these two different types of totals, a physical counting total and a value, monetary amount of money value total, we're going to have two different equations. One of which will be equal to 60, because that is the total for that equation. That's one total. And then we're going to have another equation whose total is $12.30, so 12.3, or 12.30, just to be consistent. So now it's a matter of getting these two equations. I'll start with the first one here. This equals 60. Now remember again, 60 represents the actual physical number of coins, if I counted how many coins I had. And if I had, say, 15 quarters and 12 dimes, that would give me, what, 27 coins, because 15 plus 12 is 27. I don't have 27, I have 60. And I also don't know how many quarters and how many dimes I have, but that's what Q and D represent. Q is the number of quarters, D is the number of dimes, and so Q plus D should equal 60. Whatever the number of quarters is, plus whatever the number of dimes is the total number of coins, 60 coins. So that's my first equation. My second equation has to do with the value. That's the total value. So then my equation over here is going to involve the value of the coins. And if I had 5 quarters, or 7 quarters, or 11 quarters, or however many quarters, I could find how much money that's worth by multiplying the number of quarters by its value. So 1 quarter is 25 cents. 2 quarters, 2 times 0.25. 2 times 25 is 50. 50 cents. 3 times 25 is 75. 75 cents. So then 0.25Q should be the value, the total value of the number of quarters that I have. And then 10D, or 0.10D, then 10 cents times the number of dimes. And so that's my two equations. That's my system now. That's the system of equations that I have. We're not going to go through the process of solving this, but I do have one suggestion for you when you're solving these on your own, and you should maybe take a moment and solve this for yourself. I'll give you the answer in a moment. One suggestion that I have is to not worry about the decimals here. Think in terms of whole numbers, so 25 cents instead of a quarter of a dollar. 25Q plus 10D equals 1,230 or 1,230 if you prefer. This might be a little bit easier to deal with than dealing with the decimals. So once we get to this point, solving, there's a variety of strategies that you can use. You could multiply the top equation by negative 25, so that the negative 25Q will cancel with a positive 25Q. You could multiply it by negative 10, so that you get a negative 10D that cancels with a positive 10D. Or, and those would be useful for elimination, or you could use substitution. Take this equation, maybe subtract the D over, so we get Q is equal to 60 minus D, and then take that 60 minus D and substitute it into that Q right there. There's a lot of strategies. There's different strategies that we could use. It's up to you to kind of decide what strategy you want to use, what it works best for you, what's easiest for you. I will tell you this much. The answer is, the question is, how many dimes are there? There's 18 dimes. Which, of course, means that there's 42 quarters. 18 dimes, 42 quarters. That's the answer. You should try to solve this system on your own. Use the different strategies, maybe experiment with different techniques. You can find that answer. But that, of course, is what we end up with, 18 dimes there. And then the questions on your homework will work pretty much the same way as this.